Hello, Connecticut interbranch families also with interstates and international and on off campuses, inter and intra campuses, and with differences of guilt, there are names next to that. That was, is, being, and haven't been used remotely for a method that's using this at countries A through Z. Weathersfield police have people named Sullivan and people tied to them, and other names of other officers involved with wire and mail crime methods with them. With some Mendez police that faked conversations with me at the police station. Never had a word of conversation my entire life with that older Mendez. Police reportedly the brother of an Eric Mendez, who's also one of the ones with the hallway of the court, and the court distinctly of New Britain Superior Court with sexual and medical offenders of kids years apart. Families involved with roles with that principal being, where he had roles forcing that, and with their roles with other natures of organized crimes, and putting fake things, fake ties to me, and influenced into it. There are educators of him, of a Eric Jensen, and of a Mike Roberts, and a Justin Kovinskis. Recorded capacity demonstrated confirmed also involved with spots associated and people associated with Robert Rodriguez and town lines. And along Route 3, junctions to it and to that, and South Steam Highway, like a food bag one time, to try to make it look like me. I was tied to them, increasingly with those people. And Eric Mendez tied to fake ties, fake digital ties. We try to make fake exceptions. Exceptions. They have been influenced to do that. And there's a Daryl Sullivan. And he's reportedly got family involved with a food bag too. I don't even think I ever went in food bags. I might have gone there one time in my life. In other words, I was tricked to be outside there in a car. In other words, and that's recorded too. One of the people involved from another campus who's recorded involved with people I didn't know all their names. Former director of the FBI, Robert Luskin, and various natures of courts were involved from off my campuses. Forced, tricked, turned, persuaded my campuses to do things they knew wasn't right, so they didn't do them. And this brought up confessions that are increasingly tied to people. A bunch of people from the class of 1993 were influenced to make collusions, as some of them as roles with all sides of criminal and civil cases in the interbranch at the same time. A bunch of people above and below the class of 1993 will tell you this too. Increasingly, these are people, a bunch of people in the Britain Superior Court have roles of organized crimes, intercities with the kids and with the databases, and roles with untimely deaths, murders, body dumping spots, overt criminal enterprises and private ones, time collusions with federal evidence crimes, and with the networks with the same ones. Get me off of fake conversations with WFSB, Channel 3 News, please. And Fox News, a bunch of people next to you are collusions with them with that, and with the intelligence next to you guys. It has something to do with that. People I never even had classes with, and people I had classes with too. They try to make fake communication. We never even had. I heard a word of conversation with Anthony Agnew. Never saw him outside of the classroom. I saw on the campus. It was in my. In other words, increasingly, an algebra class I had was as increasingly with everyone in that. There were only three other kids in the class, and Miss Riley. And one of them was Mr. Joe, Congressman Larson's reported relative. Increasing the other kids in that class. And important, there are proofs, people that were in communications with involved me, they use that to facilitate also with the security with the campus, is increasingly collusions with names and locations along Route 3 and conjunctions to it and to that, like the state judicial branch offices. Also with people with whiting forensics involved with child abusers and leaders of kids years apart and body dumping spots. Federal and evidence is crime. That wire and mail crime, digital crimes, and whiting forensics with sexual and medical offenders of kids further. Let's get to my paper, one name in sequence, please. Get me off fake conversations with them and get the other police on paper. These are also their women working with the and men working with the kids with the medical intercities. Increasingly, there's Luigi Guerrera, I think is his last name. Never had a word of conversation with him. He was influenced to make it look like other by making me, by having tricking me to go in the car in a long distance with them. I didn't even communicate with them in the car ride. Increasingly, he's involved with the Bryant University, and people I don't know the names of, they know my name, doing little punk games involved with sexual medical offenders of kids And I want to know the name. Is it because there are more people involved too, with untimely deaths and confessions that brought up the principal child abusers campus to me in Weathersfield. But these are people also with Rocky Hills campus further. Get me a response. Get them on paper. I want a response for the with the proven principal child abuser off campus with obscure pictures where they put him in jail for. He would confirm things, recorded, confessed, demonstrated things to me first. On Facebook too. Facebook hid this. These are personally people with Facebook involved with the class of 1993, and never even saw them around campuses. They'll tell you that. A couple of them are real quick exceptions. These are people forced increasingly with people with the Prince Perry Court and corners of streets, like the corner of Southstein Highway and Town Line Drive. And Town Line Drive is increasingly collusions with people with medical corruption with Hartford Hospital, foreign and domestic military families, overt criminal enterprises, private ones, with Anthony Agnew and his confessions on Facebook. He's also involved with people named Mendez, involved with falsified police reports and collusions with Hartford Hospital with Saudi attackers and with people that investigate such, and translators and their educators involved with sexual medical offenders of kids, and they work with probate courts that are involved with forcing drugs on people on a mass scale, interstates and international, tactically delusions wrought and mass fake transcripts and databases. These are people incapable of following mandated law. They tasked me to fake conversations with themselves being at the police station when I was a kid, now as an adult. They have a Riley family too. More people with the name Riley involved with some Jewish themed sexual medical offenders of people and two trying to call attacks on themselves. They don't get the right response, they just fake it, even preemptively. In other words, Paul Zano too, he's sick. I never try to contact him. I only know him being influenced to say that use Jewish syntax to my neighbor when I only saw them around each other briefly. Then after my neighbor graduated in my grade, they had him plant evidence with John Mayano in 1994 with two speech class teachers I had that I had to take it again the next year. That's about people from Washington, D.C., involved with sexual medical offenders of kids. Investigators are under the guise of other things to measure and maintain. They're going to keep their mouth shut. These aren't legitimate roles with intelligence people, like with a whole bunch of people tied to a Joe DeMauro. He'll confirm when you ask him. The FBI director put in the fake ties, fake nature, fake locations with me, sequence shifts. That was before I was in Middlesex Community College. They did federal crimes with Middlesex Community College. Those are also people interstates involved with sexual medical offenders of kids. They have people pretending to be against allegations and with this is what the FBI provided us. You guys are sensing for the breaching method with the FBI. FBI has weird collusions with the Weathersfield police, with the falsified police reports, and ties to me and to others. WFSB also faked ties to doctors, to little kids, and to me. When I was a kid, that wasn't at all. And as an adult, that wasn't at all. They tried to make fake exceptions to hide that too. 2 times they totally framed me and forced me to a Hartford Hospital, made up why they brought me there. To prevent counters. I try to report rape threats. Those are people also that were roles forced in the principal child abuser and more sexual and medical offenders of kids. And there's a Leahy family. I never had a conversation with them in my life. Involved with the wire crimes through the mail, too, fake conversations with me, fake ties to me, or Leahy family. A bunch of people, they affected confessions on my street because they've been planting evidence, fake ties to me with the retired police chiefs with the same house and the ones with the police phones families. Also, one of them with the extended family members next to the World Trade Center attack. And the court itself used remotely with a sequence shift in it. Fear God, to hide and plot. Keep pretending you guys have the passion or you guys have integrity with these subjects or uses of your knowledge of good and evil legitimately. You don't separate the nuclear from other threats. And those threats are also because here and there we only have fakes capable of speaking for the law. Wake up. You don't leave out black people's white lives for any proper telling of American history or any subject. That's the first thing, because a breaching method reassigned it. And you guys have reassigned with our founders to have replaced the communications they declassified were free speech. It was fake free speech. You guys have our founders framed for slavery and under the guise of defending them. And then when people rightfully attack that because that's all they're taught, the breach shows them they have to keep blaming the people, the little kids for it. And because they show them how to defend our founders as other than they were. Our founders told us to only refer to themselves plural as James Madison, and they were using his plan. And they had the plan to counter extort and force everyone to help them before the Declaration. Excuse me, before the Declaration of Independence. They communicated about why James Madison communicated about how and why they wanted nothing to do with slavery in trench North and South. You don't vote on that. North and the South, but people didn't have rights to speak up about things out of internationally monitored conversations, sensing of international companies, overt criminal enterprises, private ones, terrorists. Then America's founders were born. There's a preaching method here that used everyone remotely from abroad, and it used them remotely from abroad too. That's why they have the audacity to be speaking about transatlantic slave trade. They can't even remember the history of English. People trying to pretend they're going to counter it with the UN. UN's delusions wrought with psychiatry right through wars. Germany, Jewish, all sides of America, there are collusions with psychiatry, right, with the courts. The British Superior Court and the District Court and Harper Courts have people involved with medical corruption with the Slahy family and people on 2L Highway, Hangdog Lane, involved with various natures of drugs and medicines, crimes with the kids, identity theft, fraud, slanders, wire crime acts, and methods with the intelligence agencies involved. And they're leaking this because this is what they brought up, the use of location/S, where they are refusing to identify themselves and putting the fake ties to themselves and agent fake motivations to it. Every year since the World Trade Center attack, they're stacking predicate acts. The careers are used remotely, criminally foreign influence at countries A through Z. Wake up. Get them the heck on paper. Get put on paper.